The Smithsonian's continue to be involved in the annual exhibitions, one being the This Is Tomorrow exhibition, a multimedia exhibition held at London's Whitechapel Art Gallery in 1956. This directly addressed the notion of expendability associated with pop, and it was described as having an expendable aesthetic. The comparison is obvious in its style to trim and interiors of an automobile. The furniture and appliances define the spaces within an open plan. It is full of labor-saving devices, and usually if I was showing this in class, I would show a clip from the Jetsons, which is actually, in its inception, was a parallel event, the Jetsons cartoons. When you read this, when you look at this, one of the things I want you to do is to read Reyner Banham's treatise and think about how does the second machine age differ from the first. And then again, or not again, but furthermore, how does that second machine age relate to the designs by the Smithsons for the House of the Future, to Richard Hamilton's painting, to the strategies of Fluxus? One of the things that is a permeating theme of this period is the awareness of the increasing importance of youth culture. The youth congregated at coffee houses where Gio Ponti's espresso coffee machine would have dominated the aesthetic. This coffee machine had been marketed to Britain with its aesthetic aligning to the slick design of an automobile. Coffee machines, as I said, were the centerpiece of the coffee houses. And in addition to those coffee machines, there would have also been Wurlitzer jukeboxes on displays, laminate and chrome tables with chairs that rounded out this kind of sleek, modern aesthetic. Additionally, fashion stores with new interiors were designed to appeal to an increasingly affluent middle-class teen who had money with which to purchase clothes and accessory. The aesthetics used in these stores were not only pop, but also a revival of Art Nouveau and Art Deco, combined with the modern culture. There is, in many of these elements, a playful element that also align with the newest technologies. Max Clendenning is an important interior designer associated with this playful aesthetic and the pop culture. One of the things that he argued was that that one color should dominate an entire room. So he wrote, "The color is the natural color of the canvas," he says. "My theory of color is that everything should be the same color. If you have a yellow room, I like the chairs to be yellow, and many other furnitures." His Maxima furniture was one of his most successful designs. Curved explains that the initial design was for a town hall that he furnished in Crawley, England, and based on the clunky computer fonts of the time. When part of the collection was shown 3 years ago at a Victoria and Albert exhibition on post-war British design, a wall label quoted the designer Michael Wolff, writing in 1965, quote, "It will be a great day when furniture and cutlery design swing like the Supremes," close quote. His dining room is both futuristic plus nostalgic. You have the original trim mixed with bold color pattern and his Maxima furniture. Ettore Sottsass will be another person who transitions from this period into the postmodern period. His asteroid lamps mark a breakthrough in 1968. His background had been in the design of Olivetti typewriters when he worked for the manufacturing company in Milan. One of the things that he did there was to get a prestigious commission to design a mainframe computer. And in addition, with the Olivetti typewriter, by 1969, he was brightening that palette of dull gray that everything was with a bright red Valentino typewriter. When we look at the asteroid lamp, we see him using an acrylic case, neon lights, and the bright colors, which were also related not only to pop but also to his travels to India, where color permeated the fabrics and the architecture. Tom Wesselmann, 1931 to 2004, will be our segue into a little bit of American pop. Most of this we'll do in the museum. He is somebody who parodied American advertising and used actual cutouts in his collages. Tom Wesselmann's Still Life number 30 is a very large piece made from collaged images of magazines that are applied directly onto the painting surface. What we see is a kitchen of the time period opened up and displayed varieties of fresh and packaged food with a pink refrigerator door that echoes the laminate colors of the time, and then brand-specific 7-Up bottles. In addition to that, we have an urban window view completing the apartment aesthetic. James Rosenquist, who had worked in Madison Avenue, also challenges the role of American advertising using a technique based on collage. We see an image of JFK, a piece of half-eaten cake, half a yellow Chevrolet, symbolic of the emptiness of the promises made by candidates on television. Rosenquist worked as a billboard painter until 1960 when he felt it became too dangerous. One of the things that the Whitney pointed out is that he chooses to use color literally so that the colors we here see in this painting dedicated to the American Negro are green, blue, orange, red, and this is to reference how we experience optical color and psychological color as opposed to the physical color of one's skin. Claes Oldenburg was a Swedish native who emigrated to U.S. as an infant. He takes the low and the ordinary and makes it extraordinary. He believed that, quote, art should be literally made of the ordinary world. Its space should be our space, its time our time, its objects our ordinary objects. The reality of art will replace reality. In 1960 and 1961, he started making these installations in New York called The Street and the Store. They were basically pop-up installations where he would take inspiration from garbage picking and then fill the store or the street with plaster versions of his neighbor's possessions and things that he found. His inspiration from garbage picking is particularly ironic since he was born to a family of wealth and privilege. He was the son of a Swedish consul and an opera singer in Chicago. He elected to become part of the tenement neighborhoods rather than being forced into that region. We can see this kind of pop humor in his giant sofa fan. We'll see the big plug in Philadelphia when we go to the Museum of Art, and the paintbrush, which is right by the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts, maybe an image that you are familiar with. Closing with Zanata's blow chair, what we have is a period that we see a shift in colors, a shift in material, a shift in what it is that's considered to be our target audience, moving to the youth, a explosion of synthetics and plastics, and an interrogation about what is the authority, and a real shift towards pop culture. We see this not only in the design of furniture, the design of houses, the design of buildings, but also in LP record art, which was symbolic of the time.